Hi, my name is Drew. I'm a student pilot, and this is my journey. Come along with me as I complete my flight training here in Phoenix, Arizona. Today is week 8 of my flight training out here in Arizona. I had my cross-country flight from last week rescheduled for today, day 1, and ended up having to cancel that flight. In aviation, one of the biggest things is always making sure that you as a pilot is fit to fly. A few things happened with this flight that I'll just kind of quickly touch on. But basically, since my flight was canceled yesterday and I really wanted to make sure that this flight happened, my first cross country, that's exciting. It's the first time you get to actually fly more than 50 nautical miles away from the airport. You're gonna go land at a different airport and then come back. Typically, it's a really fun flight. It's just you and your instructor hanging out. But regardless, I really wanted to make sure this happened because it got canceled yesterday. So I was under a lot of pressure from myself to make sure that this flight actually happened. So that was problem number 1. Problem number 2, my plane was a little delayed getting in. The people who had it before me took a little bit longer to get in. So I wasn't able to do my pre-flight before I met with my instructor for my brief. So I met with my instructor for my brief, we went over everything looked good. And then I went out to the plane to pre-flight and I was, kind of just speeding along, trying to make sure that this flight happened. So definitely was feeling pressures to fly. Did my walk around the plane, everything looked good, was getting into the cockpit to start setting it up. And that's when everything kind of just fell apart for me. I reached in my bag, pulled out my headset, and one of the screws that held the earpiece on had fallen off. And that was kind of the last straw for me. I just remember at that point feeling so overwhelmed. I wasn't thinking right, couldn't think straight, and I literally just started tearing up in the airplane. So we had a conversation, or I had a conversation with my instructor about whether or not that this flight was a good idea, just for the emotional state and the physical state that I was in. So we ended up canceling the flight, which is fine. I was able to go home, relax, breathe a little bit, realized quite quickly that, in hindsight, it wasn't a big deal with my headset falling apart. It was just a piece that screwed right back on. So I was able to fix it, no problem. But we had a debrief with my instructor. We talked about some of the things that went wrong and what led to me feeling that way, to the point that I was so emotionally overwhelmed that I wasn't able to complete this flight. We also had a nice little talk about just the program in itself, and we talked about how fast-paced it is and how rigorous it is and how little room for error there is, that, not only for us students going through it, but for the instructors as well. Like, there's a lot of pressure to perform and there's a lot of pressure to, do all this stuff. And so we just kind of had a nice, open, honest conversation about the whole thing, making sure that we're all on the same page. And, she really painted the picture that we got to watch out for our own mental health and our own well-being. And that's kind of our number 1 priority, is making sure that, regardless of how fast, strict, and all that other stuff that this program is, that we make sure that we are, taking care of ourselves. So that was day 1. That flight got canceled. It got rescheduled for day 2. It finally happened, day 2, which was a bit of a relief. I was able to use some of the stuff that we talked about the day before, and make sure that I was really prepared for this, making sure that my navlog and all that other stuff was done the night before, instead of trying to do it the day of. And then, so basically all I had to do was show up to school, go about just like any other flight, do my weight and balance, do my pre-flight, and then meet with my instructor. We went over weather, we got in the plane, and I did my first cross country. Day 3 was a very fun day for me because I got to do 2 flights that day, because we fell a little bit behind with canceling my cross country 2 times. We started off, I had a cross country flight. That one was a little interesting because we were flying out west as the sun was setting. So it was interesting to try to use pilotage and dead reckoning when you couldn't really see too far outside the plane. So that was fun. Got to the airport we were going to, landed safely, turned around and came back. The flight back was a lot better. It was so pretty to see the setting sun glowing over the mountains and the desert. Let my instructor fly for a little bit so I could take a little bit of video, just because of how pretty it was. I didn't want to pass that out. So we got back to our airport, we refueled, and we did our second flight, which was our night landings mission. We have 2 night flights that we have to complete. The first one's going to be our night landings, where we knock out all of our landing requirements at night. And then the next one is our night cross country. So because I did a cross country, we were able to sneak in that landings mission and do a little bit of night flying. Day 4, I didn't have anything going on. It was my day off. Day 5, I hung out with my classmates for a little bit. Day 7, I actually went with those friends I was hanging out with. We went up to Verde Valley, which is kind of the wine country, just a little bit north of Phoenix. Got to do some wine tours and drive through the mountains up there. It was a pretty good time. First half of my week was full of a lot of flying, a lot of emotional turmoil. It was great to have the second half of my week to be a little bit more relaxed and chill and have some time to kind of shake off how I was feeling on day 1 and just kind of breathe a little bit and enjoy myself. So that was week 8. Thanks for watching. I started this video series to document my journey all the way through to commercial. Hoping to be able to continue producing weekly videos, just kind of mainly for myself to remember this journey. Everything flies by so fast and so much happens that it's good to be able to look back and, you know, kind of relive it vicariously through these short little video diaries that I do. And also do it hopefully for anybody else who might be interested in pursuing a path with aviation, just kind of showing one more way that you could go about it. So I really hope that you guys continue to support me. I appreciate all of you guys, and hope you guys have a great day.